You keep waiting to feel ready. That's the part nobody says out loud. You stare at the ceiling at 1:13 a.m., replaying your life like there's still some missing insight that'll finally unlock discipline. You watch another video. Save another quote. Promise yourself tomorrow will be different. And for a few minutes, it feels believable until tomorrow shows up. Then suddenly your brain has new ideas. You're tired. You need a reset. You should start Monday instead. Maybe after things calm down. But the strange part is, things never calm down. There's always another reason, another emotional weather forecast, another version of you that supposedly performs better under different conditions. And after a while, you stop trusting yourself. Not dramatically. Quietly. You start saying things like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I have no consistency. I keep ruining momentum. But here's what nobody realizes. Your problem probably isn't laziness, it's comfort. Not obvious comfort either, not luxury, not relaxation. Psychological comfort, the kind that protects you from discomfort so automatically. You don't even notice it anymore. You avoid the hard conversation. Delay the workout. Reach for your phone the second your mind gets quiet. Open apps without thinking. Pretend to research while avoiding the actual work. And because none of it looks destructive in the moment, your brain keeps approving it. That's how people drift, not through catastrophic failure, through tiny acts of escape repeated so often they become personality traits. And this is where the uncomfortable part begins. Because deep down, you already know the difference between what hurts you and what challenges you. But your brain treats them the same. That's the trap. The email you avoid feels dangerous. The workout feels dangerous. Sitting alone with your thoughts feels dangerous. Trying again after failing feels dangerous. So your mind reacts the same way it would to actual threat. Avoid. Delay. Escape. At first, this feels harmless. You tell yourself you're protecting your peace. But eventually your entire life becomes organized around avoiding discomfort, and that changes you. Not immediately, that's what makes it dangerous. You still function, you still go to work. Reply to messages, laugh at memes, make plans. Order food. Scroll. Sleep. Repeat. From the outside, life looks normal. But internally, you feel weak in places nobody can see. You start noticing it in small moments, like when you hype yourself up to do something simple, then don't do it, or when you say, this time I'm serious, and a part of your brain instantly whispers, no, you're not. That quiet loss of self-respect. That's heavier than people realize, because eventually the issue stops being productivity, it becomes identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who follows through, and once that happens, everything feels harder. The gym becomes emotional, work becomes emotional, even basic routines become emotional. Because every action now carries psychological history, every unfinished habit, every abandoned goal, every promise you made to yourself and quietly broke. Your brain remembers all of it, and this is the part most people miss. The Goggins mindset people talk about. It's not really about intensity. It's about rebuilding trust with yourself through discomfort. That's why it feels so confronting. Because most people are trying to improve their lives while still protecting the version of themselves that keeps sabotaging them. They want confidence without exposure, discipline without inconvenience, growth without ego damage. But growth is ego damage. Real growth embarrasses you first. It exposes how inconsistent you've become, how dependent you are on mood, how quickly you negotiate with yourself when things get uncomfortable. And honestly, that realization stings. You notice it when the alarm goes off. There's a tiny moment, before the excuse arrives, a tiny window where you already know what you should do, but then your brain starts speaking in a very calm, reasonable voice. You need rest. You can start tomorrow. One day won't matter. And this changes everything. Your brain is not designed to make you exceptional. It's designed to keep you comfortable and safe. Those are very different goals, There's a version of you that only appears when escape is no longer an option. Most people never meet that version, not because they're incapable of becoming stronger, but because they keep interrupting the process before the transformation happens. They quit in the invisible phase, that strange middle space where nothing feels rewarding yet. You know the feeling. You start waking up earlier, trying harder, pushing yourself into uncomfortable routines. And for a while, life actually feels worse. You're more aware of your distractions, more aware of your weakness, more aware of how undisciplined your mind became. That awareness can feel brutal, because now you can't pretend anymore. You notice how often you reach for stimulation, how quickly boredom makes you restless, how silence feels almost threatening. And this is where most people retreat back into comfort. Not because comfort feels good, because discomfort exposes identity. The old version of you starts panicking, the version addicted to ease, to excuses, to emotional negotiation. It doesn't want to disappear quietly, so it fights back. That's why your hardest battles usually happen alone. Not in dramatic moments, not in public, but in tiny, invisible decisions nobody sees. Getting out of bed when your brain begs you not to. Finishing the workout after motivation disappears. Staying focused while every part of you wants distraction. Sitting in silence without escaping into your phone. Tiny moments. But repeated enough, they become evidence, and evidence changes identity. That's the real secret behind this mindset, not intensity. Proof. You stop telling yourself you're disciplined and start collecting proof that you are. That shift matters more than people understand, because confidence built from affirmation collapses under pressure. Confidence built from evidence survives it. And suddenly, you stop needing constant motivation, not because life got easier, because your relationship with discomfort changed. You stop seeing hard things as punishment. You start seeing them as confirmation, proof that you're no longer controlled by every emotion that passes through your mind. And honestly, that feeling is hard to explain until you experience it. The first time you keep going when your brain screams to stop, something changes, not externally, internally. You realize the voice in your head isn't authority, it's commentary. And for maybe the first time in years, you understand that thoughts don't control you unless you obey them. That realization alone can change a person. Because now, every excuse sounds different. You hear the negotiation happening in real time. I'll do it later. I'm too exhausted. I need the perfect mood. And instead of automatically believing it, you pause. That pause is powerful. Because awareness breaks autopilot. And this is the part nobody talks about enough. Mental toughness isn't becoming emotionless. It's becoming less obedient to temporary feelings. You still feel resistance, still feel doubt, still feel fear. But you stop worshiping those emotions like instructions. That changes everything. You become calmer under pressure, more honest with yourself, less fragile, not perfectly disciplined, not transformed overnight, but steadier, more capable, more dangerous in a quiet way. And people notice it, not because you suddenly become loud or hyper-confident, but because your energy changes. You stop constantly explaining yourself, stop announcing goals you haven't earned yet, stop chasing validation for things you haven't done. There's less performance, more action. And strangely, that creates peace, because pretending is exhausting. Trying to appear motivated all the time is exhausting. Trying to maintain the image of someone who has it together, while privately avoiding your own life. That exhaustion runs deep. But the moment you start facing discomfort consistently, the noise in your head slowly gets quieter, not instantly. Gradually. You trust yourself more. You respect yourself more. And maybe for the first time in a long time, you stop feeling divided against yourself. That's what this mindset really gives people. Not perfection, alignment. Your actions and intentions finally start moving in the same direction. And once that happens, life feels different. You walk differently, think differently, carry stress differently, because you know something now. You know you can survive difficult things without escaping them. That knowledge becomes part of your identity. And identity changes behavior far more deeply than motivation ever could. So maybe the goal was never becoming fearless. Maybe the goal was becoming someone who no longer runs from discomfort automatically. Someone who can sit inside hard moments without immediately needing relief, because that's where self-respect grows. Quietly, privately, repeatedly. And maybe that's why this mindset feels so uncomfortable. It removes the illusion that your future changes through intention alone. It forces you to confront something deeper. Your life is shaped by what you repeatedly tolerate, the distractions, the excuses, the avoidance, the comfort, or the discipline, the honesty, the difficult conversations, the uncomfortable actions you keep choosing anyway. Every day, one version gets stronger. And the strange part is, you already know which version has been winning lately. But if this felt a little too real, maybe that's the part you shouldn't ignore.